Welcome to Thieves' Cant, a tabletop gaming podcast, with your hosts, Jeremy Shane and Chris White.
Welcome back and welcome in. It is Saturday, May 10th. Thieves' Cant. Jeremy Shane, Chris White is here.
Hello, everyone.
Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing okay. Did you get some gaming in this week?
My eyes have only been open for Oblivion. I'm
playing the remaster.
The remaster. I've got my Argonian assassin. It's good.
I remember my Oblivion days fondly. I had a good time. A little grindy at times, as any open world video game is, but I had a blast with Oblivion back in the day. I'm sure the remaster is fire.
I'm doing everything I can to avoid actually getting to the part where the Oblivion gates open.
Yeah.
So I'm just roaming the countryside,
enjoying the world,
killing some wolves, exploring some dungeons,
checking out the views.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful game. It really is. It would be more beautiful if I had a better video card, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
So.
I'm surprised you didn't maybe play any Magic the Gathering this week after your first foray into the experience last week.
Well, there's no time like the first time, and I'm still trying to find that magic.
Yeah. If you have not yet had a chance to listen to last week's episode in which Chris learns to play Magic the Gathering, I recommend you give it a listen. We had a good time.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. There's kind of a David and Goliath theme that happens with this.
Definitely.
So you're going to enjoy it.
Hey, quick, happy Mother's Day. It is Mother's Day weekend. So, to all the gaming moms out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where would we be without mothers?
Yeah. Have you ever gamed with your mom?
Yes, once.
Yeah?
She hated it.
What?
The kids and I, we made her play a halfling rogue, and she was, my mom just doesn't get gaming in general.
Right.
Unless it's solitaire.
I remember the story of your mom boxing up a lot of your old gaming books, gaming resources, and how did she label that box?
She put on there, that stupid game, Dungeons and Dragons, that Chris plays. She literally wrote all of that out on the box.
So specific.
She's kind of a hater for the gaming, but I love her. She's great. So
yep. So happy Mother's Day. And speaking of that stupid game, Dungeons and Dragons, that you play, that I play, I need to issue a trigger warning here at the top of the show. We don't often issue trigger warnings on Thieves' Cant, but I feel it's appropriate today. We're going to talk a lot of D&D today. And I know that just ruffles the feathers of some folks. I get it. Sometimes too much D&D makes me a sad boy. But today, I'm just letting you know, we're talking a lot of D&D. We're going to be returning to the Forge of Creation in our main segment. We're going to start crafting an adventure for D&D 5e. Putting some elements in place. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to look at an RPG project on BackerKit with an incredible physical prop. Might be interested in that. But first, the news. All right, on Thursday, WotC announced pre-orders for Eberron, Forge of the Artificer. It's a new rules expansion, of course, focus on Eberron. Rules expansion. Chris, are we seeing the return of Splat books to D&D?
You know what? I kind of hope so.
Bring them on, I say.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I know Splat books get their hate, but I miss them.
Yeah, smaller chunks, more specific to a certain topic. I think it's fun.
4 revised Artificer subclasses, 1 new subclass, the Cartographer. You got 5 revised species, 17 backgrounds, 28 feats, plus new spells, bastions, magic items, campaign templates for building fantasy, noir, political thriller, and pulp adventure campaigns in the world of Eberron. I don't know if you've seen the alt cover that they just revealed for the book. But speaking of pulp,
It does look very pulp.
Very pulpy.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this
I do
alternate
too.
cover. I like this one more than the standard cover.
I do too. I am really excited about this. I mean, first of all, I love new species options. That's always fun. Eberron just always brings something a little bit different. It's different than the Greyhawk and the Forgotten Realms and the other settings. It's dialed up a little bit, and it's just a different perspective of even the races that we're traditionally we're used to. I think this is going to be great. New backgrounds desperately needed. If you're not using custom backgrounds, 28 feats. I have never been a fan of the Artificer personally, but a lot of people are. Great. They need more content. Man, this is a win.
Man, the price is right too. $29.99.
Yeah, exactly.
So lower page count. We don't know how many pages exactly, but we can expect a lower page count with that price point.
Yes.
All right. So again, that is Forge of the Artificer for Eberron, coming soon. Moving on, there's a new Unearthed Arcana on D&D Beyond. I don't keep up with the Unearthed Arcana. I got to be honest. I hear some of the chatter on the peripheral here, but I never really dive in. Are you an Unearthed Arcana guy?
I try to pay attention to the topics. If they interest me, I may dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't.
Right. So does this new Unearthed Arcana on horror subclasses interest you?
Yes.
Yeah?
You've got a couple of things coming in. Of course, these are thematic subclasses from 2014, 5th edition. But you've got the College of Spirits Bard, the Grave Domain Cleric, the Phantom Rogue, the Shadow Sorcerer, the Hexblade Patron Warlock, Undead Patron Warlock,
Okay.
Reanimator Artificer, and the Hollow Warden Ranger. Some of these I'm familiar with, some I'm not. I think we all know the Hexblade pretty well, right?
Right.
That was like everybody had a dip in Hexblade at some point,
Absolutely.
right? So, also, like, I thought Grave Domain Cleric was really neat.
That sounds cool.
And I'm interested more than anything, though, in the Undead Patron Warlock. This was a real miss, I think, in the 2014 edition. I think if they could knock this one out of the park, how fun is that? Having the guy that, who do you serve? Well, I serve the Lich.
Right. Right.
And he's giving me powers and what all of that could mean.
Could be an Arch-Lich.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. Maybe he's a good guy.
Warlocks are a fun class. They're the most customizable class in 5e. And any options you throw their way is just more fun.
I've got to say, Hollow Warden Ranger, I just like the sound of that.
I like it too, but I am unfamiliar with what that looked like in 2014. I don't know what book it came from, so we'll have to go check that out.
All right. So Unearthed Arcana, often related to an upcoming product.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really know exactly where these horror subclasses are going to fall, but it should be noted there is a mystery product coming out in October from D&D with speculation that these subclasses could tie into that book in October. A lot of folks are thinking maybe another Ravenloft book.
Yeah. If you think horror, that's the first thing you think of in Dungeons and Dragons, right? Is Ravenloft.
Right. Curse of Strahd was huge for 5e.
Yeah.
It seems like smart money bet.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on that one. Let's move on to crowdfunding. Chris, do you like physical props in your games?
I do. You know I do. Yeah.
We've mentioned the Masks of Nyarlathotep campaign that I ran you through. Heavily reliant on the use of physical props.
Made a huge difference.
Right? I think about the Dracula dossier for Night's Black Agents, one that we've never brought to the table, but it is on my bucket list. Basically, the hook of the campaign is that the player characters end up with a copy of Dracula, unredacted. There's an actual physical novel, a copy of Dracula, that the players can use at the table to explore and hunt for hooks. Basically, the idea is that Dracula was written not as a novel, but as an after-action report on a spy mission gone incredibly wrong. And so now Dracula has been published as a novel to try to help cover things up.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And there are certain players that are really going to latch on to that. To go back to Cthulhu, honestly, everybody, try this. With the props you had, I'm telling you, it's a completely different game when you have crime scene photos.
Right.
That you're passing around the table. Here, take a look at this, or these secret documents or
newspaper clippings specifically related to the NPC that you're trying to hunt down.
Right. A telegram message from somebody, a cryptic telegram message, that's moving the story along and sharing some information.
A matchbook with a telephone number written on the inside, things like that.
It is huge. So, yes, I do love props.
Yeah, and those props, by the way, I got those from the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. I'll put a link to those in the show notes.
They did a great job.
Yeah, add it to your Masks of Nyarlathotep campaign. But at any rate, today we are talking about Lazlo's Cubed Crypt. This is on backer kit. It comes from, and I love this, Attention Deficit and Dragons.
Yeah.
I mean, who among us has not looked at AD&D and thought attention deficit? Yeah, all right. So this is a level 12 D&D 5e adventure, but it's paired with a puzzle cube. So you're thinking like Rubik's Cube meets a dungeon crawl. So it looks like a Rubik's Cube with a hand-drawn map on all sides.
Oh, really?
And the art comes from Dyson Logos, who well regarded in the TTRPG community, makes a lot of their maps completely free for the community to use. In fact, you'll see some of Dyson Logos maps in official D&D products. The big bad in the adventure is Lazlo the Lavish, a silver-tongued lich who sparked civil wars and now lurks in a crypt with his phylactery. He's been defeated once, but he's back for more. Now, here's the twist. The crypt is actually a fake. Adventurers get teleported to Lazlo's demi-plane, where the dungeon defies logic, and that's where the cube comes in. You have to solve the cube to survive. Players twist and turn it to navigate, or the DM can just serve it pre-solved for story vibes if he wants to. There are stretch goals. More funding means extra adventures for all play tiers. There's a stretch goal that will create a Pathfinder 2e version, and they are teasing geomorphic cubes for even more maps.
I am very interested in this. As soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm searching this thing out because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, link is going to be in the show notes. This runs until May 22nd, so there's still time to back. Pledge tiers like Cube Crusader, that's a $35 pledge, gets you the cube itself along with a PDF of the adventure. That's a reasonable deal.
Yeah.
And then I like this sort of thing as well. Going back to the prop, not only is it fun at the table, engaging for the players, gives you a memorable gameplay experience, but then after the fact, you can set it up on your gaming shelf with your other odds and ends, and it's part of your trophy collection.
Yeah. And I don't know if it would be reapplicable in other games, but it sounds like it could be. So, yeah.
I would say this would have some utility in other games. If you just need a quick map on the fly, you can throw down this cube and say, all right, this is kind of what you're dealing with. Here's your map.
I like that.
Or for adventure prep later on, if it's just you and you need a quick map.
That's true.
There you go. All right. So again, that's Lazlo's Cubed Crypt. You can find that on Backer Kit. Link in the show notes. Well, Chris, it's been a while since we entered the Forge of Creation.
It's been too long. It's a little dusty, but I like it.
Now, it's fitting now that in our main segment we move into the Forge of Creation. It is Mother's Day weekend, so let's bring something into the world together.
All right, fair enough.
It's going to get a little messy today. We're going back to the Forge of Creation.
The Forge of Creation.
We're going to build an adventure using, once again, our trusty Tome of Adventure Design from Mythmere Games, written by Matt Finch. We will, more than likely, we'll continue this in future episodes, but we're just going to kind of start to sketch out that adventure outline today, get those initial ideas in place. And I figured, why not start with the sort of mission that this adventure is going to send our party on. So I'm going to reference the tome and head to the tables dealing with types of missions. So I'm going to man the book today, Chris, and if you don't mind, we'll let you do the rolling.
I think you'll regret this in the long run, but okay, sure.
All right, I brought my dice for you to use if you'd like to. If you don't have yours, you're free to ridicule my dice again.
I don't want to curse my dice, so I'm going to use yours.
All right. You'll need some percentiles. Once again, we're going to be making D100 rolls for the most part.
Your lack of unity and coloration bothers me severely.
I have just a hodgepodge collection of dice. If I like the die, I put it in my bag. Chris is more of he likes a complete set.
I do.
He likes his dice to match.
I do.
If you could see him today, everything matches. His shirt, pants, socks.
That's right.
He is unicolor.
Yeah. Even my fanny pack. It all matches.
Okay, we digress. Let's go ahead and get our first D100 roll, and we'll find out what type of mission our PCs are going on.
All right. 93.
93. Okay, this is an event mission. Let's have another D100 roll.
52.
Okay, 52 means the PCs are going to lead or coordinate something. Let's find out what. Another roll.
This is fun. I like it. 56.
They're going to lead or coordinate an exploration or a mapping expedition.
I like it.
Perhaps our next roll should be on the hooks and motivations table to find out exactly why.
That sounds good.
This should be another D100 roll.
4.
Okay, 4. It's actually 2 D100 rolls, so go ahead and give me another.
Okay. 69.
Very nice. Okay, so that roll of 4, what might motivate the players to choose this adventure? It says the ability to move inconspicuously in certain groups or places. Maybe we're trying to find a secret route through an area?
A secret trade route or something?
Perhaps. An ability to move inconspicuously in certain groups or places. We'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
Let's take a look at that 69 result. This is how characters learn about the opportunity. A potential employer contacts the party to offer the opportunity. Simple, straightforward.
Right.
If it is trying to locate a trade route, maybe this is a wealthy merchant.
Yeah.
Who is looking to get an advantage over his competitors.
Sure.
So that's the setup, but we know every adventure has to have a villain. Every adventure needs some sort of evil plot.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe we should turn our attention to that to find out what's happening in the background. What is the villain's plan exactly? Does that sound fair?
Absolutely.
All right. You know what to do.
49.
49 on the table, the master table of villainous plans.
All right.
A 49 means the villain's plan is to evoke a catastrophic event. The villain is trying to set off a natural, magical, psychic, or political disaster. This might be an end in itself or the first step in some other plan.
It's Mr. Glass.
So now we turn to the evoke catastrophic event table, and we'll get some more specifics, a little more clarity.
This book is awesome.
It is a blast. I have fun every time I crack this thing open.
Evoke catastrophic event table.
That's right.
Absolutely. I just want to stay here. All right. Here we go. 27.
Okay, so this table has 2 columns. That 27 result on the target of catastrophe. The target is a forest.
Okay.
A second roll is going to determine what is required for completion? What does the villain need to make the catastrophe come to fruition?
The finalization of his dreams and schemes. 5.
It says engineering. Mundane engineering is needed to complete preparations for the catastrophe. Now, this could include construction of a building to the exact proportions needed, undermining a building, etc.
Okay.
Should we assess what we have? All these?
Yeah, let's look at where we're at so far. We've kind of been building as we go. We've kind of made some assumptions based on the rolls, but I think we're seeing a story starting to come together.
Okay, what do you see?
Well, we know that Private Party is going to contact the adventurers, right? He's going to make them an offer to go on this expedition to map or scout out something in that area, right?
Okay.
We know that at some point the party is going to come across a villainous figure with ill intent, and they are going to set in motion a disaster, which the party is going to find out about, right?
And this disaster is targeting a forest.
In a forest.
Does it make sense that the region the players are hired to scout or map out would be this forest?
It could be, yeah.
Or their journeys would take them through this forest?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. You know, we'd already started brainstorming before we even finished rolling. You know, these ideas of it could be a rich merchant, it could be, you know, maybe it's a trade route. So all these things are applicable, but you could go in a lot of different directions. I mean, what's a natural disaster in a forest? Well, maybe there's a large city that's difficult to trade with. The party's given the option to go find it. Maybe think about a disaster in a forest or a region like this, something just like a mudslide or a rock slide or anything like that could be devastating to this city.
All right. Something, if there's not a city, maybe the forest itself is in peril. Maybe there's, maybe this forest is magical in some way, and there's some aspect of the forest, a life tree of sorts that if it fails, the forest itself fails, and that has larger, more impactful consequences down the road.
Yeah. Those are two completely different adventures just based off of these roles we've had. I love it.
All right, so as far as our next step goes, I think we've got a couple of different options here. We've got this forest, so I could take us to the forest wilderness tables deep in this book, and we could define some specific elements about that forest, and maybe that'll clarify some of the other questions that we have. Alternatively, you could roll on the tables near the start of the book to set up more of a kind of a themed location.
Is the forest the centerpiece, or is the forest a piece of something bigger? Is that more the idea?
So, like, is the forest the adventure site, or is it a stop along the way? Is that what you're asking?
Right.
Tell you what, for these purposes, does it make more sense to just focus on the forest as an adventure site?
Yeah.
And then if necessary, we can expand outward from there. That's always the guidance that world builders are given, right? Start small, start in a location, and then build out.
Right. And I think a lot of it, too, is this a one-shot, or is this going to be an ongoing campaign? But, yeah, I think it would be okay just to focus on the forest and build the world out.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then let's define some elements about the forest, and that is probably as far as we're going to get with this in today's session. Checking our options and tables here. I'm looking at forest mapping features. This is a D100 table. Why don't you give us a roll on that and see what we get?
All right. 16.
There's an area with heavy, almost impassable undergrowth.
That's why we need to map it and have this expedition.
Right. Well, give us one more roll on that table.
84.
There are also natural clearings in this forest.
Okay.
How about forest dressing? Couple rolls on this D100 table.
Couple rolls? They get paid extra for this?
By the roll?
Paid by the roll, that's right. 59.
Okay, a 59 means there is a massive fallen tree.
Really?
And I wonder if that's an area in the forest, maybe the fallen tree itself is a clue of some sort.
Every roll of the dice, like it sort of makes your mind go off in a
Right.
different direction, doesn't it?
Right. Does this massive fallen tree, where it's uprooted, does it open a tunnel into the earth with more areas to explore?
Oh,
It
yeah.
certainly could, right?
Yeah.
So something to think about. All right, we know we've got a massive fallen tree. How about some more forest dressing?
96.
A 96. Odd. A wicker basket.
That's ominous.
That is ominous. Imagine walking through an uncharted forest. It's already strange, and then maybe in one of those natural clearings right in the middle, a wicker basket.
I don't know why, but that roll just turned this whole thing into like a found footage video for me, like
Like some Blair Witch.
Yeah, some Blair Witch, but like with a D&D party. Yeah, that's fun.
Okay. I think one more thing that we should do that'll kind of tie up this week and give us enough fuel for next time is to come up with a legend that is associated with this forest.
Oh yeah.
All right. So this is this is a 2-part roll.
9.
Okay. So that's the first part. Go ahead and give me the second.
20.
9 and 20. All right. So the name of the legend is the Dark Dryad.
Ooh, I like it. And his wicker basket of death. Yes. That's fun. I want to play this game.
We've got more to develop, though.
I know. We got more work to do.
Recap what we've got in play here before we wrap up.
Before I do that, quick pro tip.
Yeah.
You might want to write these things down as you go along. I think that might be helpful.
You're questioning my ironclad memory?
We're doing this on hard mode right
Yeah.
now. But yeah. So we know that the party was hired by an individual to map out and explore an area of forest. Now, there's some open paths here, and there's some paths that are winding and nearly inaccessible. We know that there is a tree, a large tree that has fallen, and there's some significance attached to that. We know that there's a mysterious wicker basket that has been found, that's going to be found in the woods. We know that there is a villain at work, and that villain is going to set in motion a disaster affecting the area. And we know that all he needs is some simple mechanics in order to get that done. So he's very close to his objective. And we know that there is the Dark Dryad.
The legend of the Dark Dryad.
So we're not done yet. But if your DM even vaguely describes some of these things, do you immediately start thinking, oh, man, I want to be a druid. I want to be a ranger. Like, do you kind of like start some classes, just start calling to you some matches?
I want to lean into like the elements that the adventure is really going to, bring to the fore here.
Yeah.
If we're going to be doing a wilderness adventure, then I want someone who's going to be capable in that setting, in that environment.
Yeah. Or maybe I'll bring my elven wizard who's intent to save the forest or whatever. Yeah. All of this just really kickstarts your imagination. Have we created something today? Have we created something beautiful together?
Birthed it. It's like it's crowning right now. It's not all the way out. We've got more work to do, but
just keep pushing. Just keep pushing, keep breathing.
Heads up, we've got a little bit of a hiatus coming up. Next weekend, I've got a kiddo graduating from high school and all of the end of the school year stuff that's keeping us scrambling. Chris, you are off to the beach here shortly. So
I am.
Little vacation time for you.
And that really demonstrates how old you are compared to me. You've got a kid graduating high school. I'm off to party at the beach. So I think that speaks volumes.
So we will see you in 2 weeks' time. If anything changes on that front, we'll throw an update out there. So just a little bit of a break, and then we'll be right back with you.
And thanks to everybody who's been following along on this adventure.
Very much appreciated. If you are following along and you want to weigh in on anything that you hear on the show, you can email us at thievescantcast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on the socials at Thieves Can't Cast, and we're on YouTube at Thieves Can't Podcast. All right, Chris, have a blast at the beach.
Yeah. Congratulations to you all, and I hope everything goes well.
Have some great gaming in the days ahead. We'll see you in just a couple of weeks. He's Chris White. I'm Jeremy Shane. This has been Thieves Can't. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Thieves Can't. Email thievescan'tcast@gmail.com.